Good afternoon, sir. I am Kim Palarao, and the title of my case is People of the Philippines versus Charles Y. Marasigan. The crime is rape. Facts. Criminal case number C026987. Date of decision, August 20, 2014. Accused, Charles Y. Marasigan. Victim is under the age of 12 years old or is in any case deemed vulnerable. The accused was the parent of the victim. Accused was found guilty of 2 counts of rape. Charges. The charges brought against accused in this case were for 2 counts of rape under Article 266A of the Revised Penal Code of the Philippines. Child abuse, trauma, and psychological impact. Sentencing punishment. Charles Reyes Y. Marasigan, guilty beyond reasonable doubt as principal by direct participation in 2 counts of rape. Punishable under paragraph 1 of Article 266A of the Revised Penal Code, said, accused is hereby sentenced to suffer the penalty of 2 reclusion perpetua, with all the accessory penalties as provided for by law. Further, the accused is hereby directed to indemnify victim in the amount of 100,000 pesos as civil indemnity, the amount of 75,000 pesos as moral damages, and the amount of 50,000 pesos as exemplary damages. The elements of the crime. Number 1. The accused has carnal knowledge of a woman under any of the following circumstances. A. There is force, threat, and intimidation. B. When the offended party is deprived of reason or is otherwise unconscious. C. There is fraudulent machination and great abuse of authority. D. The offended party is under 12 years of age. And 2. Accused commit an act of sexual assault by inserting his penis into the victim's genital area. Facts of the case. Parties involved. People of the Philippines versus Charles Y. Marasigan. So what happened? In the first case, when AAA, the victim, was alone in their home's room in May 2002, the accused came in and touched her breast. Then the accused took off her clothes, including her sandal shirt, shorts, and pant. She attempted to leave the room, but the accused prevented her from doing so. After that, the accused took off his shorts and briefs, positioned himself on top of her, and attempted to enter his penis into her vagina, causing her to experience pain. When he was unsuccessful, he put on his shorts and briefs and left the house. AAA, the victim, also put on her clothes and proceeded to the house of the neighbor, where she watched a television program. At the time of the rape incident, her mother was not in their house because she was instructed by the accused to go to the market. Also, the mother of the accused, who was living with them, was at the time in the house of their neighbor. Although she was able to talk to her mother after the rape incident, she did not inform her about it because she was afraid of the threat of the accused that the latter will kill her and her mother. Second case. On August 5, 2002, at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, AAA, the victim, was again alone in the room of their house when the accused entered the room. He removed her blouse, skirt, sandal shirt, and panty. She was not able to do anything because the accused threatened her to kill her and her mother. While naked, the accused placed himself on top of her and tried to insert his penis into her vagina. She tried to push the accused away when she was unsuccessful. She felt pain in her vagina when the accused made a push and pull motion. Thereafter, the accused put on his shorts and brief and left her in the room. After which, she put on her clothes, and at the time of the incident, her mother was in the market, while her siblings CCC and DTT were somewhere else. About 1 hour after the incident, her mother and her 2 siblings arrived, but she was not able to do anything because she was afraid. In the first case, that sometime in the month of May 2002 at Barangay Calero, City of Calapan, Province of Oriental Mindoro, Philippines. In the second case, that on or about the 5th day of August 2002 at Barangay Calero, City of Calapan, Province of Oriental Mindoro, Philippines. The prosecution's evidence is on August 6, 2002, Dr. Neva Balor conducted a physical examination on the victim and issued a medical certificate with the following findings. XXX, the presence of bulbar erythema and complete hymenal laceration and complete hymenal lacerations, possibly caused by insertion of the penis. Among others, XXX incomplete healed hymenal laceration at 3 o'clock position and complete healed hymenal lacerations at 5, 6, 8, and 9 o'clock positions, which were probably caused by masturbation, insertion of hands or objects, or the insertion of a hard or airy penis during actual sexual intercourse. So the defense argument, the accused, who was then a 34 years old construction worker, when he took the witness stand, vehemently denied the charges against him. He stated that he and BBB maintained a common law relationship for 2 years. Thereafter, things turned sour as BBB was unemployed and indulged in gambling using the accused's earnings. He alleged that on August 5, 2002, he was at home the whole day doing carpentry work. AAA, the victim, and BBB, the mother, were there as well, while the former 3 siblings were in school. That night, the accused drove BBB and her children, including AAA, away from the house. The incident earns AAA's ire, which led her to file the complaints against him. Sikat, on her part, testified that she was with AAA the entire day of August 5, 2002. The accused could not have raped AAA at that time as the latter went home late at around 8 p.m. Legal issue. So the central legal issue in this case is whether the accused is guilty of committing rape under Article 266A of the Revised Penal Code based on the evidence presented in the allegation of forcible sexual intercourse without the victim's consent. After careful consideration of the facts and the circumstances surrounding the case, it is concluded that the accused is indeed guilty of the crime. Several aggravating circumstances contribute to the severity of the offense, which could lead to a higher penalty. These aggravating factors include the use of violence and threats, as well as the victim's vulnerability. The victim, being under the age of 18, is legally recognized as a minor, and such a factor significantly heightens the seriousness of the crime. Moreover, it is crucial to note that the accused is a parent of the victim, a relationship that is built on trust and responsibility. The abuse of this position of trust and authority further aggravates the offense and makes the crime even more reprehensible. In light of these facts, the accused's actions are not only a violation of the victim's rights, but also a betrayal of the moral and legal duties a parent has towards their child. Therefore, based on the evidence and the aggravating circumstances, the accused is found guilty of rape and will be subject to the appropriate legal penalties. Court's decision and rationale. Supreme Court's ruling. The Supreme Court agreed with the lower courts that the accused was guilty of 2 counts of rape. The court confirmed that the accused's actions were wrong and punished him accordingly. However, they did change the amount of damages the accused has to pay to the victim and decided that the interest should be added to the amount as per usual legal rules. So the accused was found guilty of committing 2 counts of rape. The Supreme Court upheld this decision, meaning the accused is held responsible for what happened. Victim's testimony. The court believed the victim, AAA, because her story was clear, detailed, and consistent. The court pointed out that a young person like AAA wouldn't go through all the humiliations and public exposure if what she said wasn't true. She also didn't change her story, making her testimony strong and believable. Medical evidence. Dr. Niava Bolor, a medical expert, confirmed that AAA had physical injuries, hymenal lacerations, which match what she said happened. This medical evidence helped support the victim's claims and prove that the rape occurred. Accused denial. The accused denied everything, but the court said his denial wasn't enough to change the situation. Denying something doesn't make it true, and since AAA's testimony was convincing, the court didn't believe the accused's denial. Witness testimony. The accused tried to say that someone named Sikat was with AAA on the day of the crime, but her testimony wasn't reliable. She said she was with AAA all day, but also claimed she went to school at the same time, which didn't add up. So, her testimony wasn't seen as trustworthy. Aggravating circumstances. So the court considered that AAA was underage. She was a minor, and the accused was her parent. This made the crime worse because parents have a responsibility to protect their children, and the accused abused that trust. Legal rules. The court referenced Article 266A of the law, which defines rape as occurring when a man has sex with a woman under 12 years old without her consent by force, threat, or intimidation, and a man with carnal knowledge of a woman. In this case, since AAA was under 12 years old, the law applied directly. The court also considered additional factors, such as the use of violence and the relationship between the accused and the victim. Furthermore, the court ruled that interest should be added to the damages to support the victims. Key findings. Victim's testimony. The victim's story was clear, consistent, and believable, so the court trusted it. Medical evidence. The doctor's findings back up the victim's story, showing physical proof of the crime. Weak defense. The accused's denial and the unreliable witness, which is the CAT, weren't strong enough to change the outcome. Aggravating circumstances. The fact that AAA was a minor and the accused was her parent made the crime more serious. Damages and interest. The court decided to change the amount of damages the accused has to pay and added interest on top, following legal standards. Application of the law and the elements of the crime. In the case of rape under Article 266A of the revised Penal Code, the elements of the crime are as follows. Sexual intercourse or accuses carnal knowledge of a woman without her consent, by force, threat, or intimidation. Victim is under the age of 12 years old, or is in any case deemed vulnerable. Conclusion. Summary of the case, significance, and criminal law. This case highlights the application of the revised Penal Code in the prosecution of rape, particularly when the victim is a minor and the perpetrator is a parent. The case underscores several key elements in criminal law: credible testimony and medical evidence, role of trust abuse, minority as an aggravating factor, the importance of consent. In terms of personal lessons learned, this case taught me how important it is to understand criminal law, especially when it comes to cases with minors or when trust is abused. It also shows how crucial it is to protect victims and make sure they are heard in court, while also holding those who did wrong accountable. So that concludes my report. Once again, good afternoon and thank you for watching.